Hi, thanks for checking out our channel. Here's going to be a hopefully repair video on this particular unit. This is Gallagher S100. This is a 1 storage joule, like 0.7, 0.8 output, something like that. We don't see these in for repair all that often. This one's about 5 years old. So they did send their battery along for it because they wanted me to test the battery. Battery shot. It's like 10 volts on the 10.5 volts on the battery. We put a power supply to it, set it about 13 volts to try to load test it, see if it'd take a charge, and we get no draw at all on our power supply, so we know that the cells inside the battery are shot. So I'll have to tell the customer I don't think I've got battery for this one in stock. We don't stock batteries typically because you can get them all over the place, so we don't really bother with that. But so this, I've just done an initial test with it. All this thing does, it will flash the green light, but will not make the clicking noise. And if it doesn't make the clicking noise, then there's no chance for it to have any kind of output. So I'll put the power supply to it real quick and put the battery check. It does that just fine. Well, it did earlier. What's going on here? There's that. Flashes, but there's no clicking sound, and the clicking sound comes from the transformer itself when the board and the capacitor and all that stuff discharges. So we've got either the primary or the transformer's gone bad or unplugged or something, or the board's bad. So I think I got the parts in stock. I think I saw this one on the shelf, so I went ahead and ordered some parts for it since we don't see this unit in all that often. I didn't really stock the parts. We don't see a big call for them, so no reason to stock a bunch of parts if we don't see them come in all that often. Alright, so there's basic layout of the unit. There's circuit board, module, transformer, capacitor, and the wiring comes in, plugs in, and everything. So first thing I'm doing, I'm just looking to see if there's any cracks in the epoxy. Don't see any there. Sometimes if you don't see it, sometimes you'll feel it. Finger across your fingernail will catch it, and I don't feel it. I don't know if maybe once I've replaced a transformer on one of these units. Let's get one of these wires unplugged. And we're going to do a resistance check, or we're going to test the primary input side of the transformer, which is this side here. But I'm going to unplug it from the board, at least one wire, so that way it takes it out of the circuit. On any transformer on electric fence box, the primaries are all the same. I mean, reading anyways, or at least the same range. They're just a closed loop to allow the board and capacitor thing to discharge into it. So if the loop is open or really high resistance, then that board can't discharge into it. And the clicking noise you hear on these fence boxes is the transformer itself. That is when the energy goes through this, and this spikes it up from primary to secondary. When it does it spiking up just into itself, that's the clicking sound you hear. So it's not the board discharging, it's not a relay, it's nothing like a capacitor discharging. The noise itself comes from the transformer. So the primary should be between 0.1 and 1, or 0.1 and 0.9, reading 0.3. So the primary is fine, so the unit should allow the board to discharge into it, and it's not. So we know our issue at the moment is the board. So let's get the screws out of it. Now this board could have a charge built up in it. It's hard to say. And there are a bunch of capacitors on the front side of the board that you can't see until you take the board out. So be a little careful you don't get hit by something. And there's where all the magic happens. All that stuff there. There's all your big capacitors. And I see, at the moment, I see a part right over there. It's all discolored looking, but can't get any schematics for it. It's covered in this. It's a conformal coating, so our only option on these Gallagher units. It's an expensive route. Let's replace the board and move on to the next one. But yeah, that device right there, get some hot spot look into it, but it could be anything, and you can't. I mean, you could probably clean it off there, but the numbers on it are so darn small. With that conformal coating all over the place, you can't even read it. Even after you pick it off, there's like it's messed up the stamping on the parts. So let me go to my box of parts, and I already got in for the stuff, and I'll be right back with you. All right, brand new board. See if I see any changes in the board versus the old one. No, I see some small things. This is a 2024 board, so brand new. Okay, so this is the old board in my hand right here. See up in there, so all this stuff up there. Got a bigger capacitor up there. A bunch of little ones there. Also, this chip right here is that one there. They've used a lot larger chip, so they've made some improvements there. I don't know if that was a common failure or what, but they did replace it. Looks like they've also changed the layout a little bit. Looks like if you look over here, all this stuff is where your solar panel comes in at, so this must be maybe some discharge protection stuff or some voltage regulating stuff. I mean, there's also the flashing lights are over here as well. But if you look over here, all this stuff's been changed up quite a bit. So it looks like they've made some updates and changes to things. So maybe we've seen a improvement there. I don't really see any other changes, but so that's the good thing about Gallagher. They don't always leave things status quo. If they see something that's not quite right, and they want something to change for the better, they always try to update things and make things better. So they don't just throw away the whole unit just to come out with some new model. They improve on the existing one. Okay, before I put these screws in, I got to get these wires plugged in. I got that wire plugged in. Now this one I need to plug in as well, and it plugs in a certain way. Like this. If not, it's the other way. Okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, Gallagher's pretty good about trying to make things better. They call it continuous improvement. All right, so I got to put the lid back on. They will not run with them like this because the switch itself does not, like you see, you turn the switch on the outside. It does not turn anything on the inside. There's a little magnet behind this orange piece that's right up inside. A little bitty magnet, but it's a very strong magnet. And that does through induction, through the magnetic field of the magnet, talks to basically the different points in the board. Tells it what to do and how to act and what setting it's on, all the whole 9 yards. So let's get this cover back on. And I do need to replace the ends here. They're pretty crusty. But let's go ahead and put a tester on there. Well, let's put the screws in it first so I don't have to tip it back over and I don't want something falling out on accident. Put the screws in the back here. Alright, hooking up power to it. I got 12.7 volts on my power supply hooked up to it. Flip this back over and make sure battery check works. It looks like it's flickering in the screen in the camera, but it's on solid there. So I'll do that again. It's actually solid. It's a frame rate deal with the camera. Hear it clicking. Probably good to go. Let's flip this over to the back. Oh, let's get our tester out. And do open circuit voltage, about 8.5, 8.6 kV, almost 9,000 volts out of it. We'll put a 500 ohm load on it. .3 joule or 3.3 kV. Yeah, 3.3 kV at 0.58 joules. Let's go to a 200 ohm load. So it's probably right around a 0.6 joule output, somewhere in that range. So I can't find an ohms load between those two settings. That's what we got. But it is working fine now. Let's turn this off. Put our knobs back on. Alright, well this one's done. Well, here we check one more thing. Check the solar panel. I don't know if I can do it here or not. We might have to be outside in the sun to actually get a decent reading, but let's just see if we get make any headway out of it at all. Let me keep my meter on there. I'm going to lift it up towards the light. Oh yeah, it was like 8 volts, so I imagine going outside we get like 14 or something like that, because it's a 12 volt unit. It should be 14, give or take. Alright, so this solar panel is fine. So it just had a bad board and needs a new battery, and we'll put on some new clips on the end here. These are pretty crunchy and crusty looking, so we'll do that. But other than that, we're good to go. This wasn't too bad of a fix. So if you need parts for a Gallagher S100 or any other Gallagher unit, give me a holler. I'll help you out with parts and stuff like that if you want to do the work yourself. And there are links down in the description below to our website, fencerfixer.com. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, see you later on.